What's up, guys? Today on our show, we have one of our partners, Ryan Lane, aka Dreambeard. Ryan's the man behind the camera. He produces our show. He plays a big role in all of our marketing for the insurance and the real estate for all of our businesses. And he's also a business partner of ours through a company that we created called Dream Now. So, Ryan, thanks for stepping on this side of the camera.
Yeah, dude, it's exciting. I love it.
I love that you're a part of this. So, basically, I want to start off with kind of, we met. Just a little backstory. We actually met in 2021. Brent and I went to lunch or breakfast with Ryan one day, and Brent had already at Waffle House, maybe.
Shout out.
And Brent had already done like one video or something for someone through Town Club Realty.
Yeah, we did a real estate video
together, and then they randomly met like way before that. But anyways, Ryan had a background in entrepreneurship and business, so I want to start there. Kind of tell them about Dreambeard and where that concept kind of came from. And how did that come about?
And where you were kind of leading up to the start of Dreambeard.
Yeah. So I was, at the time I was still working in church. I was a pastor, like in pastoral different capacities, worship leader, youth pastor, all this for over 10 years. And basically I had moved down to Atlanta with my wife. We had just gotten married and we wanted to live kind of back where she lived. And so I kind of moved down really not knowing what I was going to do, which was abnormal for me because I'd only done like church type jobs. And so I tried to get that, but it's difficult, because there's a lot of like relational type things involved and it's just like, it's a big thing. And so as I was waiting, I was trying to find jobs and eventually couldn't. And one of them specifically was because I had a beard a little longer than Brent's at the time, probably like about that long.
Shout out to Brent's beards.
And so two places actually did say that they would let me work for them. One was like a pest control job, but the big thing is they wanted me to shave my beard off because of the they have to wear respirators and stuff. And I remember like talking to my wife about it, and I was just like, I don't know, because at the time I was thinking about Dreambeard, which I'll get into. And I was like, man, this is kind of like, if I shave this off, like it's kind of like defeats the purpose of what I was trying to do in the background of everything. And one day I also had one other time, and this was like the pivotal moment of where I started Dreambeard, but I was going to actually get a job at Kirby Vacuum Cleaners.
Let's go.
It was like the most lowest. And I mean, look, if you work there, I'm not like shaming, man, everybody do your thing. But like, I mean, this was like, you're going door to door knocking, trying to sell vacuum cleaners. Like it doesn't get much like rougher than that. And so
it's tough.
I was headed to that job. And I just felt this in my heart, you want to call it your spirit or whatever. I was just like, this is not it. Like, this is not the path. This is not the direction, paving your own way, right? I was like, this is not it. If I go this direction, this is falling in line. This is, not allowing myself to carve my own path. And so I called my wife and I was like, hey, I know this is crazy, but I don't think I should get this job. And I mean, literally like our money's dwindling. We had just like a little bit in savings that kind of was like getting us by. And we were also living with my father-in-law. And she was just like, without hesitation, was just like, I trust you. Wow. And I trust like the vision. And I believe that if this is what you think, then like turn around. And I did. I turned around, and that day I decided to start Dreambeard, which was the first beard product ever created. And I created it in my father-in-law's house on his dining room table with the last $46 to our name.
Wow. That's like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson story.
Yeah. And so we started it small. It was when Etsy first started, all e-commerce was very, very new. And within 3 months we had sold in 30 countries. And after a year we had sold in over 60, and we ended up selling in like over 140 countries after we decided to dissolve it, which was a COVID thing, which leads into how we met and all that kind of stuff. But it was a fun ride, man. I learned so much. I sat on the board of FedEx. I ended up speaking at places like RetailX and the Internet Retail and Conference Exhibit, IRCE, and man, it was a wild ride, and I learned a lot.
Before we shift over into before we shift over into the Dream Now that you mentioned, I want to hear because basically, were you able to really use your creative juices, let them flow at Dreambeard? Is that why you think it did well and sold in those countries, or?
Yeah.
Because now I see you as just such creative. I don't know. That's like logistics, and there's a lot to product companies.
That was part of the reason why the business never made it as long as it could have, because of the logistics. Because I think I've always been an artist, and I didn't, if I could like, you know, say someone that's trying to pave their own way or start their own business, I would say like get the right people around you, because I might be very powerful artistically. I might not be mathematically, you know, like inclined or like see things from a more like digital, like line by line item type sense. I'm more like theoretical and, you know, and visionary and like thinking about concepts and stuff like that. And so where that was a huge success for Dreambeard, like being able to be creative, being able to create things that people had never saw before. We didn't just create beard products, we ended up creating a huge line of products. And also just like accessories for life. It was really the beginning of the culture of being like a part of a brand. You know, back in the day, you just went to Walmart and you like bought your shampoo. And then there was this like weird culture that kind of happened where it's like, oh, I want to identify with this brand to buy their shampoo.
That's right.
You know, and that was
festivals and things started being a big thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that we kind of rode that wave. You know, there was a lot that was entailed in that too. We were kind of the first to gain the concept of influencers. So this is like pre-influencers. And now it's almost something that, you know, if you're a small business with a product, you almost like have to have, like you're thinking about, I need an influencer. This was like pre all that. And I would go to bands and different people and like try to get, and that's how I got connected with like Slipknot and all these different bands. I would just like give them my product and be like, man, like I would love for you to check this out. And so it was like way before all that. And so I started having these, you know, people like ZZ Top post a picture with my product and all these different people. And it was back in the day when like that really was like a new thing. And so I think that was part of also the success and the artistic side of things, is I was thinking outside of the box. I was thinking like, how can I generate guerrilla marketing, you know, so to speak. And that's kind of why Dreambeard really created like almost like a brotherhood. And basically I think that was like the huge successful part of it, but that can only live so long. And I think that was part of the problem of why we ended up closing, is because I didn't have the right people around me. I was living on the success of hype. Like I was really good at creating allure, like all that kind of stuff, stories that people would buy into. But that would be my one piece of advice, is get the right people around you.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what is, as someone who's, you know, started a successful business in a couple different industries, you know, we know you end up going to marketing, but from that first lesson, knowing what you know now, other than getting the right people on the board, what other advice would you say? What was some of the most challenging things in that startup phase?
Yeah. I think, man, if you're really willing to bootstrap, which is what we did, it's very tough. Like, and I don't think a lot of people are really willing to like have that actual grind. It's like, you know, and a lot of people, they see successful people, or they see somebody or a brand that's successful, and they're like, man, I want to be like that, or I could do that, you know, like, and it's like, because once it's a finished product, it's pretty easy as a conceptual human with a brain to be able to look at it and be like, I could have done that. But it's correct. But it's different when you're like have to actually create that from thin air.
Yes.
Like, and so that's why there's so many copycats, because it's easy to try to like repackage something that's been done before.
That's right.
And so for me, I'm not sure what was we kind of lost track.
So basically the challenging of the startup, you're talking about the grind. The grind. People don't see how hard that grind is, man.
So that's the big one, is the grind is first, the biggest, foremost. If you're going to start something, are you willing to put in the time, the tenacity, you know, because it's like while everybody else is sleeping and it's their 9 to 5 and it's like 9, 10 o'clock and maybe you're working a 9 to 5, that's like your time to like move further, to like move the meter further. Exactly right. And it's like most people are unwilling to do that, to work weekends, to do what it takes to like get above the noise, because that's the thing, is like we live in an oversaturated society where there are a million of each thing. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you want shampoo? We got a million. You want insurance? We got millions of different kinds.
There's 20 million options.
Yeah, it's like everything is so oversaturated that you have to rise beyond the noise.
That's right.
You have to create a story that's so powerful that it resonates with your target audience.
Yes. And if it's easy, everyone would do it. Like
Exactly.
to get that lifestyle, to get whatever you're searching for. I mean, that's what most people are collectively looking for: financial freedom, a nice place to lay their head at night, all these things. It's a competitive world out there, so you do have to rise above that. I was listening to Andy Frisella this morning, and he said it was 10 years after starting that vitamin company before he made $45,000.
Wow.
And then 3 years later, he's making six figures.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to commit to that grind in order to get to that. And most people, man, the grind hits them the first year or two, and then they're gone, and it's hard.
Yeah.
And then it's hard to even, a lot of people, I commend you because we can kind of lead into the next journey of Dream Now. A lot of people, when they have that experience, and, you know, COVID obviously was terrible for several different industries, but I mean, most people just are okay with going back to that normal life after they, you know, one business didn't work out. But you've kind of went into a couple different businesses. So how was that transition going into Dream Now? Because you were so good at marketing your beard product. Was that kind of the mindset, was, let me go do this for some other companies?
Yeah, totally. And I want to say one more thing about Dream Beard and Dream Now.
Absolutely.
And I think that basically comfortability is a big problem in your business. And what I mean by that is, like, ending Dream Beard, part of the reason why that was a problem, and part of the reason why I continued to extinguish that, is that when you know, I was starting with $46 and I had nothing. Well, once I had something and I was paying my bills, I became very comfortable, and I quit that grind. I quit that tenacity. I was like, just like, oh, like, orders are coming in and people like the product, and so I'm just gonna, like, just let this keep rolling.
That's right.
And that was part of it, is all my competitors, they didn't stop their tenacity. They kept going, and that partly ended up letting them rise above me. And so same thing with, you know, transitioning into Dream Now and stuff. I think that I never knew I was a marketer because I was just kind of doing it for myself, but I never really saw it until after Dream Beard. I started doing some stuff for other people, and I realized, wow, like, I have all these kind of gifts that I've been given through just experience. It's not like I went to business school, but I just had to learn all these things. And so I started kind of doing it for other people. And then I think my big realization was when I started doing it for music, and I did it for, like, people like T-Pain and Riff Raff and all these different, you know, wildly successful brands like Traeger grills and, you know, a whole bunch. And so basically I started seeing, like, wow, I might be able to do this for a living. You know, like, this isn't just one-offs. Because at first it was just like, I was kind of doing them, and, like, it was kind of cool, and I was, like, making some money here and there, and I was like, it was just kind of like an extra thing. And then I was like, man, I really want to do this. Like, this feels good. And so I kind of started just developing more and more clients, which is where you guys come in. I don't know if you want to kind of go into that.
Kind of cool story. We were connected through who we do real estate with, is your brother-in-law, and it was right when COVID hit. So Preston, we were trying to kind of do some stuff with Town Club Realty and the house flips and everything that we do. And Preston was like, man, I'm going to give you my brother-in-law's number. Give him a call. He was actually working with several restaurants and bands before COVID hit. And now he's available. Before, you were super busy doing restaurants, music.
Basically entertainment was my, like, huge.
And then COVID obviously
hits,
wasn't
and like
fun for that.
All entertainment's like,
yeah, that's tough. So it worked out for us, but I hate that because that's tough, because there were so many people that lost their jobs in that time frame.
Yeah.
So anyway, long story short, he does a couple videos for us. I think one of my favorite videos that we did in the very beginning was the Halloween video for farmers.
Oh, dude, that's the OG.
That was
the first one.
We haven't seen it. Look it up, dude.
It's very funny.
Willing Agency Halloween. It'll pull it up.
Yeah, and we'll share it again. We're getting close to Halloween because that's been almost 3 years now.
Yep.
So what is hard to think? That's hard to even think about. But anyway, we hit it off. He does a couple videos for us, and we're kind of at the grassroots of starting our business, and we see this, and we just really connected well in the very beginning, and we're like, man, let's just we really want to market our business as well. We have strong desires to grow other businesses. So why don't we make this partnership where we're going to basically start a marketing agency, but the idea is to get to the point where we just market our businesses. That was the initial thought process.
Initially we were just a customer. Initially we signed a monthly contract and said, let's market.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, we're sitting down and we're like signing business LLC documents and like, let's start Dream Now.
Yeah. And it was fun.
But I'd love to hear that story from your perspective, from your side of it.
Yeah, man, I think going back to knowing that you need the right people around you, I think that I was aware of that at that point in my life. And I think that we hit it off, like, Brent was saying, and I felt that that was more important to me. I've always been relational. And so when I was like, wow, I like being around these people, it would be really fun to like do life with them and like work with them. And and so I think that was kind of my perspective going into it. And I knew that like I couldn't build something on my own. And that kind of goes even more into soapbox and later we'll talk about that. But like I knew that like Dream Now was going to be way more successful with y'all than with just me on my own again. Cause that's kind of what it was at first. Like I just had my like clients and I was just doing my own thing and I was always doing my own thing. And I've always been doing my own thing. And I kind of realized like, Ryan, you need to not just do your own thing. You need other people around you so that they can help lift you up where you are weak. And I think that's why having a team around you, having partners around you, having, whatever it is, people with wisdom around you, is just extremely vital. And so yeah, real quick, then we spent the next few years, we acquired this building.
Yeah.
Which was crazy.
Yeah. Ryan comes to me probably, I don't know, a couple months after we decided to start working together. He's like, man, I've got a vision for a building where a bunch of artists, just like almost I think you say a watering hole for artists.
Yeah.
And wow, did that turn out to be what happened?
Realest thing.
But long story short on that, we essentially, we've got 2 buildings where we're at here that my wife's family has. And the tenant at the time here, I think COVID kind of hurt him as well.
Definitely.
And so he had, wasn't paying the rent and we ended up having to evict him. And I basically tell Ryan, I'm like, man, we got a building, but it's in bad shape. We're going to have to get in there and see what it is. And it may work out. I don't know. And dude, the first day we came in here, it was a trail of just garbage, random house stuff, the most random stuff you've ever seen in your life.
It was like
a church. It was a church that we didn't even know they had installed like a stage. And a kitchen.
There was like a stage. There was a race car in here that was buried under trash.
Yeah.
We didn't even know it was there the first day. We had to like dig through it and we're like, there's a race car.
So anyway, now it's going to be so cool as we get into the soapbox story where we are at today. It's so cool. But in the beginning, man, we were just, you talked about it, kind of grassroots. We cleaned it out ourselves.
Yep.
And so talk about kind of the vision in the beginning of Dream Now of kind of that led us to where we are today.
Yeah, it goes back to that grassroots, that grind, that bootstrap. That was something I also saw in you guys too, and in myself, and I knew that's what it was going to take. And so, even like this psych wall that's next to us that you might be able to see a little bit of, I'll never forget. I just had this vision again. I was like, man, I really feel like this is something that like not a lot of people have, and like it could really, change the game for us. And you guys believed in that and took out a loan, and we like literally like made the wall. And still to this day, even though we redid the entire building, we kept that wall. It's the one thing that like is literally from the original build out. And so watching us all grow within those couple years and the cool things we got to do, so many amazing things, man, we got to shoot, and it was just so much fun. And I think what happened was we saw the next evolution happen, which is, where Ryan and Kevin come in, and they're also now partners of ours. And so basically, same thing. We knew they had a vision. We had a vision. We had things that were already in place, a building and an establishment, a marketing agency to help this vision come true. And so for me, it was an honor to be able to, again, put people around you that you maybe are weak in, they're strong in.
That's right.
And now it's like the team that is here currently is the most powerful team I've ever been a part of, you know?
Wow.
And so it's exciting because we're only like 1 year into this version of it, you know, barely, you know, barely.
We're about to do our studio kickoff party.
Yes, we're literally about to have our first studio kickoff party finally.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, because 3 years ago when I told you that building, a watering hole for artists, like I had a vision, but like what actually came to pass was far more greater.
Yeah, and we never could have dreamt it, you know,
And
at all.
that's the lesson, is you can have a vision, but if you just take one step at a time and make the best decision you can today, it will lead you to the best possible outcome.
Dude, that's great.
And so I think that if you work hard, you focus on what needs to be done today, this week, and you put your head down, you'll be amazed at what happens in your life 1 year later when you pop your hair back up and you look around.
It's so true. And
Yeah.
I want to give you
It's so
major
true.
props too. Like one thing that has been is real strength of Ryan's is, man, he'll like get you in the room with people, maybe intentionally, unintentionally, and it's like I'm always just so grateful for it. Like we've had mortgage lenders just sit in front of us that it was like, oh, what's this guy doing here today? And who is that? Whose truck is that out there? Oh, Ryan just brought this guy here. And then you end up connecting with them. And it's like, man, it's such a valuable thing. And if you're a person that has the potential to like put people together, like do it. Because you never know what's going to.
Connectors are powerful.
Because Ryan put some people in front of us, we had the building that we're sitting in went from like a warehouse that had small offices in it to a completely built out studio with a machine in it. And so I guess we can I just said.
Well, yeah, we're going to go into that.
Yeah, I was going to say, as the producer, this is a great place to stop.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Good deal.
Real quick, guys, this is Rob with the Wheeling Agency. I just wanted to reach out to y'all. We've been in business a little over 3 years here in Paulding County. We take pride in serving our community, so next time you're in the need for some insurance, give us a call and reach out. Now get back to the show.
So I was just getting into the next step in our evolution, as you said, and it's the studio and Soapbox. Tell everybody, what is Soapbox, and like how did it come to be with us? Like how did you get connected to Kevin and Ryan? You know, all that.
Soapbox is the future. No, I'm just kidding.
It's true.
But it's true.
Yeah. You know, Soapbox is really cool, and how it came to be, basically, you know, Ryan and Kevin, which we'll have on the show, we've talked about, you know, they had this vision one day at a concert, and Ryan was like, man, it'd be really cool if you could experience this concert in a different way, where you're not just sitting in the seat, but you're like on stage with them and you're like walking around them and you're experiencing it. And that's what really led to like the creation of Soapbox. And what it is it's a one-of-a-kind volumetric capture system that is the newest, baddest thing you can basically get. The military are the only other people that have it. And right now what we're utilizing it for is more posterity, for capturing famous people. We've talked to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Grammys, Motown, and we've been having already, you know, people in, you know, like Collective Soul, Shaq, Buddy Guy. We're talking to Stevie Wonder and a lot of other people. And basically what we're doing is we're capturing these people so that 500 years from now, you know, you can watch Stevie Wonder play the keys and talk about his life. And so these are going to be really like museum pieces of art, you know, that we're going to put in museums. And eventually we're also working on an app, and the new Vision Pro for Apple's coming out. And so we're going to be able to utilize our technology to project actual holograms into your living room using that technology. We also, you can use your phone as well. It's still pretty cool, but it's not as dynamic and like intriguing as the headset is. And so we're really on the cusp of creating things that are like for the future and that people aren't even able to access yet, which is insane, because we're like capsulating these things like it's real posterity, it's real future. It's also imprinted. It's not AI. It's not like we're recreating, you know, when Shaq came in here, we're not recreating him with AI technology. It's literally him. And that's what we want. We don't want any thing tainted. We want that person to be exactly who they were in that moment, and kind of like bottling up magic. And so that's our biggest overarching goal right now at Soapbox. We do music videos as well, which is insane. We're able to take these holograms and put them in any kind of world. And we've used it like obviously for sports and the implications of sports and being able people to be able to project their their favorite pitcher or golf, whatever. And
even for training purposes.
Training purposes, being able to like freeze like somebody, pitching. So there's a lot of insane things that we've kind of been talking through and doing and working on. But yeah, basically it is the first of its kind hologram machine connected also to a recording studio, which is extremely rare. So we're able to record full bands while we're making the hologram.
Yeah,
it's really cool to see.
We've seen it. Yeah, we've seen the holograms. They're awesome. And
crazy.
The future, really, whenever you see it, it's going to be next level.
It's really cool. And the vision for the company is it's a lot of fun to be a part of. I'm so thankful that we all got together. It's so unique at how we connected. And I think it goes back to something Ryan talked about earlier, the power of connections. Mm-hmm. Him and Kevin were doing a little meet and greet marketing get together, 6-7 years ago, maybe longer.
Yeah.
And they were just talking about, that was when you were fully involved with Dreambeard, correct? Mm-hmm. And so that's just, and I can remember the day when Kevin came over here and we just hit it off in the conference room, and then we meet again, and then it's finally like, man, maybe we should come together. So I think that comes up often on our show, is the power of your network and the power of the people that you surround yourself with. And I think all of this, and we're going to do a kind of behind the scenes, show you the studio at the end of this episode. But all of this coming together, if it wasn't for the people that we connected with, it wouldn't even be possible. Yeah. Like nobody 100%. Could have ever dreamt this up.
100%. And I think it goes back to the team. It goes back to, like you were saying, and I think that was what was so cool, is each individual, each person brought something to the table.
That's right.
And, without it, there wouldn't have been money. Without it, there wouldn't have been time. Without it, there wouldn't have been the vision. Without it, there wouldn't have been the technology, And so it's like, I even think about the guys that help us overseas build the machine, and it's like, without all of those people, without the person who's overseas right now working on our app, and we have to FaceTime him to and it's like everybody has an integral part to making Soapbox real. And I think that is something that must not be lost. Like that vision of like collectivity, of like you're saying, a watering hole for artists.
That's right.
That is literally what this place has become now. All these artists are coming here to create with us and make really magic.
Absolutely.
And with that too, the people are the opportunity. Like if you're hanging out here right now and you want your life to change and you have no opportunities, just go talk to some people.
Yeah.
And eventually, I'm not saying you're going to end up with a 4D volumetric hologram studio one day.
The sky's the limit.
The sky is the limit. Yeah. Anything's possible with God. But what I'm saying is that if you have no opportunity, just go talk to people and connect, and eventually you're going to run across them, because that's what just has happened to us over and over again.
That's a great point. And it's like, so many times for safety, we stay in our group, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, having like the same friends and all that stuff. It's a beautiful thing. But if you're not getting out, if you're not engaging with people, if you're not creating new opportunities, new friendships, then it is very hard to have those opportunities magically appear, because they usually happen outside of your bubble.
Yeah.
And so that was a huge thing that you guys started doing too. With, I know y'all both are a part of all kinds of organizations and stuff like that, and how much that's helped in your businesses as well.
It's so true.
Absolutely.
And it's like, the saying, the harder I work, the luckier I get. It's kind of like that with, the people that you meet. The harder that you put yourself out there, the harder you go at networking, the more opportunities that come. And then, you got to be very careful about, we're not telling you guys to, go into business with every person you come into touch with, but like you said earlier, the spirit, we just felt something was right about it, and you'll feel that.
I believe
when that's needed, because we're living proof of what can happen when a couple people get together with a common goal, and we just knew we were on to something special here. And the thing about it is, guys, we're still in that grassroots stage. We're still in that grind period. But it's so true that when you surround yourself with people that you actually enjoy doing business with, it doesn't necessarily feel like work every day. Like we can literally just have fun together and we enjoy life together. And that really helps when you're trying to build stuff together, is enjoying doing life with those people.
1000%.
It's critical.
It doesn't mean there aren't problems. We have like, we do so many things. We got like 29 problems a day. Maybe. But the problems are easier to get through. You have a team to get through. You have people that you enjoy talking and getting through those problems with, that make it better than it ever could be without them.
That's right.
Yeah,
and I can't wait to see what comes from Soapbox. I can't wait to see. We've got a lot of visions about what we're going to do with the podcast, as far as, what that looks like. We don't know what this studio looks like. We don't know where it's going to go. All I know is that, like Ryan said earlier, we're just going to put our head down and see what happens in the next couple of years. And I'm super excited to see where all it goes. I can't wait to continue to build all these companies together, build all these dreams. I just can't wait to do it.
We're going to be diligent, and we're going to be patient. That's two things I'm really focusing on nowadays, is diligence and patience.
I have one more thing.
Oh, yeah.
I think we're talking a lot about preparation and grinding, and we also talked about luck. And I think that is something that you must marry together. And so you must prepare, you must work, you must be ready for that moment of luck to strike. And that could be a meeting with a person. It could be that new job. It could be that new idea. It could be that new hobby that turns into something more than a hobby. But you have to be preparing yourself for that moment. So many times people get the moment and it just passes them by because they're just like not ready for it. And I think about my music career and my pastoral career and my business career and all these different careers. And I had those moments. Lord, with Dreambeard, I had that moment. And had I not been prepared to do what I needed to do, it could have easily passed me by. And same thing with this. Had I not been prepared and working on my own things with Dreambeard and my own marketing and my own pictures and my own this and that, and then going out there in faith and making my own way, paving my own way, essentially, and getting all these clients led to the strike of luck when COVID hits and I meet y'all. That's just like literally a stroke of, like, we would have never worked together because I never would have worked in that industry, but because COVID hit and I lost like everything, here I am, like, looking for things to happen. Boom, stroke of luck, and I'm prepared to take on what happened and the opportunity that happened.
Right. Man, that's so true.
End up transforming your life.
Yeah, and that's such a good lesson, is like, while you're waiting for the next opportunity, don't just sit there. Be doing stuff, be controlling what you can control, be reaching out to clients, be learning how to market, doing these, like, you can do so much. You're so talented with creating videos. I mean, another video that y'all should go watch is our rap video. Not only did he record the whole video, film it, produce it, he wrote the rap. So there's so much talent that's in this human being that it's beautiful, but it didn't come overnight. You had to learn how to market your beard company, which ended up teaching you how to transition out of that and offer that to other people. And now it's a weird, like, there's not many people that have your job title, I guess.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Wild job title, and I love it.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Dude, and I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for letting me come on. I really enjoyed this a lot, and I enjoy Pave the Way a lot, and I really hope that the viewers do, because I think it's sincere. I think it has real information in it that is helpful, and I think that that's what people really need. And so I really do hope that people continue to enjoy the show, and we've been getting great responses. And so, yeah, like you said, man, the sky's the limit.
Yeah. The last thing I want to hit on, we don't have to go too deep on it, but podcasting is really hot right now.
Yeah.
This dude also had like 400,000 weekly listeners on a podcast. What were your top 5 or 10?
I was, well, in my genre, I made it to the top 10, but in all the podcasts, I was number 28 on the top 100.
In all of Apple Podcasts. So I just want to, if you have anything for people that maybe they're looking to start a podcast or anything, I just want you to give them that insight, because like Gary Vee's talking, he's saying like in 2024, if you don't have a podcast, like you're way behind.
Yeah.
And I didn't do that because Gary Vee said it, but we've been working on doing this for 3 years. Now Ryan produces it, and it is amazing. Like we couldn't ask for more from what Ryan does to produce our show. So if you have any insight on podcasts.
Yeah, man. I mean, they're extremely powerful. I think that nowadays don't get so caught up in like, I want to make it big or I want to make it famous. Utilize it to your advantage to create your own culture. Because even if you have 200 people that are extremely sold out to your podcast, whatever you're selling, like they're buying, you know what I mean? And it's like, and so you sell, you could literally start making a living off of that, you know? And so it's like, and not that that's like the point, and maybe it is, you know, but I think that if you look at it, and me and Brent were talking about this yesterday, I think some people get caught up in numbers, but let's say it's 200. Let's say it's 400 people. 400 people that are subscribed to your podcast and they're sold out. And then I asked Brent, what is the typical size of a church that's like a decent size? And it's like 300, 400. So you literally have a church. Like you literally have a church of people watching you, subscribing to your message, believing in your message, and that's extremely powerful. And so realize that like how powerful a podcast can be for you in that sense, finding your own culture, creating your own culture, creating your own, you know, crew of people, you know, so to speak. That's powerful in many different ways we could talk about. But I think the other thing is connections.
Yes.
And through my podcast of 4 years, every week I had a new person on. I am blown away at how many of those connections I still pull on and still rely on. And so even though we talked about that, I think nothing happens outside of who you know. Really, like literally, like you have to know somebody for something to happen. Anything, a job or whatever, like you have to like make a connection with somebody for that to happen. You know, even a job interview, like Absolutely. You walk in and you have to make a connection with a human. And so that is extremely vital, is making connections.
Yeah, and from our personal experience, like talking to the people on this podcast, you go so deep with them, and it's like you make really lasting relationships just from having a 2-hour intense conversation that you may not have had. They may not have had that for a whole month outside of here.
Yeah, that connection piece is huge from the podcast. I mean, it's so true. So I would encourage you all to do it. Ryan, thank you so much for everything. I mean, you go above and beyond. You've done so much for our businesses, the videos, you just really care about our brand, and you've built it. You've helped us build it every step of the way. So I thank you for that. Yeah. I'm looking forward to your music coming out. He's got some music coming to Spotify soon.
Rock and roll, baby.
That's right. So he's using those connections again, going back to connections. He's already singing on stages, so can't wait to see where that goes. But thank you so much, brother.
Yeah, man. And I can honestly say, like, we wouldn't be here without you.
Dude, so, likewise.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.